15 were injured. For all of the talk of peace, it's still hard to imagine. James Waterhouse, BBC News, Kyiv.
Well, let's bring in Steve Fish now, Professor of Political Science at the University of California at Berkeley. Professor Fish, good to see you. Give us your take then on these latest developments. The US delegation soon to be in talks with Russia.
Well, I think it's very important to remember, Sally, that Putin knows that Trump is on his side. Trump has always been on Putin's side, going back to when Putin helped him win the presidency in 2016. Trump, in fact, has in recent weeks abandoned our long-term alliances that multiply, in fact, our power in the world, American power in the world, alliances with European partners, probably something similar is coming with our East Asian allies, in favor of aligning the United States with the world's dictatorships, and preeminently with Russia. This puts very little pressure on Putin. I think it's unlikely that Putin is going to feel like he has to dance to Trump's tune when it comes to the ceasefire and anything else, or Trump will abandon him. We also have to remember the low or no likelihood that Putin is actually going to honor any ceasefire or any real end to the war, that he seeks an end to the war. Putin might act for a while like he's laying down arms and ceasing fire, but then there will inevitably be Russian violations of the ceasefire. He'll claim the Ukrainians provoked it, even in the absence of any evidence. We also have to remember that Putin has never abandoned his overall goals, which he stated very clearly: the demilitarization of Ukraine, meaning the disbanding of its army, Russian sovereignty over the entire territory of Ukraine. Putin has never accepted Ukraine as an independent sovereign country that has control over its own policy. The dismissal of Zelensky, these all remain Russian demands. And by giving away so much of the farm to Putin before the negotiations even started, Trump only strengthened Putin's hand.
But are there not sort of reasons to negotiate or attractive options for Russia, in the sense that perhaps some of these severe financial sanctions could be reduced, or sanctions on certain individuals could stop, that kind of thing? Are there not incentives for Russia that would cause it to say, OK, we will agree to this 30-day ceasefire proposal? And, you know, as we know, it's all about the long game with Putin, but he can see some short-term gain in agreeing on a ceasefire at this point.
Well, if he agrees to a ceasefire, and if when he breaks it, that the Americans make clear to him that the sanctions will be doubled down on, then sure. But Putin has plenty of reason to think that he's going to be able to act with impunity. Perhaps he can honor the ceasefire for 30 days and then go back to fighting. The fact is that Putin knows that Trump is on his side, and I think it's very unlikely that he's going to abandon his campaign against Ukraine. I think from the standpoint of elementary economic rationality, then, of course, Putin and his elite do have reason to honor the ceasefire and to cease a real permanent settlement of this war. But Putin has never acted and he's never put economic rationality first. It's conquering Ukraine that he's put first, even at enormous cost to the Russian economy. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
No, we will see what happens in the next few days. Professor Fish, thank you for talking to us once again on BBC News. And of course, there is other